December 21st, 1996. In the warm, sunlit streets of Palm Gardens, Florida, Austin Kelly Harrouff took his first breath. On the surface, he had everything. A father who crafted smiles as a dentist, a mother trusted with lives as a pharmacist, and a little sister close enough in age to be a built-in best friend. But behind closed doors, the American dream was rotting. His parents' marriage fractured early. In third grade, Austin watched his world split apart, and though he said he got used to it, something vital inside him had already broken. He later confessed he never really knew what it was like to have a real family. His father's shouting, the bitter fights, they seeped into the walls, into his memory, shaping the boy he'd become. Some people are born into quiet chaos, invisible cracks in a perfect life, fissures that widen until they finally explode. Raised by his mother in Jupiter, Florida, Austin still clung to his father desperately. When Wade found new relationships, Austin looked on with the wide-eyed hope of a kid searching for stability, and each breakup carved another wound. Even his mother's long-term partner, someone Austin might have trusted, was ripped away by a sudden heart attack. Still, from the outside looking in, Austin was the image of promise. Tall, strong, athletic, with chocolate brown hair, a muscular build, and a GPA just over 3.2 at Suncoast Community High School, he wore his future like armor. He dreamed big Division I football, maybe even the NFL. He was one of the strongest players on the field, capable of squatting 315 pounds, a quiet powerhouse in Jersey Hash 55. But strength isn't the same as stability. Beneath the surface, the cracks were widening. This is True Crimes by Dominic, where the darkness beneath the surface is always closer than you think. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the real stories behind the headlines. Austin wasn't popular. He was painfully shy, lacking the easy confidence that wins crowds. While his peers chased parties and relationships, Austin kept to the shadows, invisible, simmering, unseen. He wouldn't start dating until he was nearly an adult. Something darker was brewing, unnoticed. And when it finally erupted, it would leave a stain so horrifying, so senseless, that it would stun the nation and shatter the lives of everyone it touched. Stay with me to the end as we uncover every chilling detail of a case that will make you question how well you ever know the people around you. Strength, at least for Austin Harrouff, never equated to violence. Despite his powerful build, despite the long hours in the gym, those who knew him on the football field remember something different. Josh Lonsberry, a former teammate, once said, "We used to have to ask him during games to just get angry, to play more physical. We used to beg him, but he never would. He just smiled. That was just Austin." Beneath the muscle was a gentle, almost timid soul. After his junior year, Austin crafted a personal statement for college recruiters. It painted the picture of a disciplined, determined young man chasing more than just touchdowns. He wanted to major in pre-med. "I have learned to discipline myself on and off the field," he wrote. "I conditioned my body in a short period of time to become one of the strongest on the team." And he wasn't lying. By junior year, he could pause press an impressive 365 pounds. Off the field, he wasn't resting. Austin joined the wrestling team during his sophomore year, earning the title of Most Improved Player by his junior season. He made captain his senior year, placed third in districts, and also found success in weightlifting, finishing second place at another district event. Austin even put together a highlight reel to send to scouts, hoping his athletic ability would open doors. But no matter how strong he was, one thing he couldn't control was his size. In the brutal world of college football, linemen often tip the scales at over 300 pounds. At 6 feet tall and around 200 pounds, Austin simply didn't fit the mold. His dream of playing Division I football crumbled, another silent loss he quietly tucked away. Around this time, like many teenagers wrestling with growing pains, Austin turned to substances for escape. He took his first drink at 17. The feeling washed over him, warm, numbing, a quieting of the mind he craved. He also experimented with weed, but said he didn't love it, Just a couple of puffs would leave him feeling sluggish and foolish. The summer after graduation, Austin tried to find his footing. He enrolled in classes at Palm Beach State College, then transitioned to Florida State University that fall. Tallahassee brought a new beginning, and with it, a new Austin. He shed some of his shyness, even joining the Alpha Delta Phi fraternity during his freshman year. On the outside, he was living the typical college experience. Parties, friends, a 3.3 GPA, and a declared major in biology. But cracks were forming underneath that polished image. Austin drank heavily 3 nights a week, by his own admission often to the point of blacking out. He'd wake up in unfamiliar places, memories erased by alcohol. Morbone, the partying didn't stop at booze. Austin dabbled in psychedelics like LSD, mushrooms, and Molly, hoping for some life-altering trip. But the drugs didn't deliver the enlightenment he was searching for. Instead, he developed a preference for prescription stimulants, Vyvanse and Adderall drugs meant for ADHD. But on campus, they were easy to score without a prescription. Austin used them to stay up studying, enjoying the rush they provided. But these amphetamines, mixed with his heavy drinking, were a dangerous cocktail. And it's very likely Austin downplayed just how deep he was falling into the drug world. Text messages between October 2015 and August 2016 tell a darker story, one he wasn't confessing out loud. He openly talked about snorting Adderall and cocaine together. He mentioned getting high daily out of boredom. He even referenced trying meth, casually calling it ice. On August 10th, 2016, in a rare moment of honesty, he texted his girlfriend of 4 months, Katie Alexander. "I think I'm a drug addict." By the summer after freshman year, Austin seemed to be pulling himself together on the surface. He landed a job as a dental assistant in Palm Beach County, a position that started in July. He was also taking summer classes, preparing for his sophomore year at FSU. On paper, things looked promising. But behind closed doors, Austin's mind was unraveling. That spring, he launched a YouTube channel called A Frost. Over time, he posted 53 videos, fitness tutorials, freestyle raps, singing covers. Sometimes he'd show off workout techniques like the vacuum pose. Other times he'd croon pop songs shirtless, smiling awkwardly into the camera. "All right, ladies and gentlemen," he'd say cheerfully, "today's video is about doing the vacuum pose. Sorry if you can't see my face. It's right here now." It was innocent enough, or so it seemed. Austin adopted an alter ego, Austy Frosty. He dreamed of becoming a famous rapper. In his channel's tagline, he proudly wrote, "I got a psycho side and a normal side. I've lost my mind. Help me find it." A chilling prophecy in hindsight. He became obsessed with appearances, splurging on designer clothes, expensive sunglasses, talking about dyeing his hair blue. He wanted to stand out, to be seen, to be someone. On August 7th, Austin traveled to Tampa to visit Katie. During the trip, things took a sinister turn. Austin couldn't sleep. He claimed to see monsters and hear a dark, demonic voice. He wasn't sure if he was awake or dreaming. Something inside him had begun to slip. When he returned home, Austin's mind spiraled even deeper. He dove headfirst into researching philosophy, religion, and conspiracy theories like the Illuminati. Reality became tangled with fantasy. While sterilizing dental instruments at work, he believed he was channeling power through water. He became convinced he could bless the water, making it pure and magical. No longer dreaming of rap fame, Austin now imagined himself a civil rights leader, the next Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. He truly believed he had a special gift, a charisma that could unite humanity. By August 12, 2016, Austin declared to himself that he had superpowers. He was convinced he was a Christ-like figure, invincible, immortal, destined for worship. He started wearing only light-colored clothes to ward off evil. He slept with the lights on, terrified that the darkness could summon a spirit that would kill him in his sleep. He stayed away from alcohol and drugs during this time, a rare clarity, but his paranoia only grew sharper. On August 13th, he rode bikes with his father, Wade, and Wade's girlfriend, Carrie Knowles. At one point, a group of barking dogs caught his attention, and Austin interpreted their cries as trapped souls begging him for help. He began collecting strangers' business cards, believing he could somehow protect them. Then, fearing he might accidentally endanger them, he ripped the cards to shreds. Austin heard God's voice in his head, whispering to him. At a restaurant, he drank glass after glass of water, believing it was the fountain of youth. Later that evening, he got a ride in a Dodge Ram pickup and fixated on the truck's logo, believing it was the devil glaring at him. That night, Austin clutched his family dog Hubble close, insisting on sleeping in his sister Haley's room for protection. He thought something dark was coming, and he wasn't wrong. Sunday, August 14th, 2016, began like any other lazy Florida afternoon. But for Austin Harrouff, it marked the moment when his unraveling mind would slip fully into chaos. That morning, Austin did something out of character. He took the family dog, Hubble, for a walk. Nothing strange at first glance, but Austin didn't just walk Hubble. In his mind, he had become part of him. Half dog, half man. That wasn't all. Austin had convinced himself he was a centaur, a mythical creature. Half human, half horse, the embodiment of his Sagittarius zodiac sign. He believed that animals and spirits were granting him supernatural strength and agility. But the delusions didn't stop there. Austin began to think that eating a snake could give him power over evil, like reversing the curse of Adam and Eve. So he did just that. Bought some snake jerky and ate it. Later that day, Austin and his father Wade visited what he described as a gun show, though some say it may have been more like a local shop that sold weapons, knives, and other oddities. While browsing, Austin spoke at length with a knife vendor about survival skills. Fear gripped him. He was convinced malevolent spirits were closing in. Desperate for protection, Austin bought a knife. He asked vendors for tips on fighting hand-to-hand, fixated on becoming a protector, even as paranoia gnawed at him from within. That night, he sent a chilling text to his girlfriend, Katie. I am no longer afraid of anything. I am no longer afraid to die. Everyone will remember me as a great figure, but I am just a living example of what we all do. Whatever storm was building inside Austin, it was now almost at full force. Monday, August 15, 2016. Austin threw on a Michael Vick football jersey, not by choice, but because he believed dog spirits told him to. Wearing it made him feel invincible. He tested this newfound invincibility by walking straight into traffic. Cars swerved to avoid him, and every near miss only strengthened his delusion. Nothing could hurt him. Later, Austin bought a Fitbit, claiming it transformed him into something more a cyborg, part human, part machine. He believed he was now a Terminator, sent to wipe evil from the world. His senses heightened, or so he thought. He believed he could instantly tell whether a person was good or evil. He even told his friend, Sam Pitchick, that he could communicate telepathically, specifically with black people. His words, not ours. That afternoon, Austin and his sister, Haley, visited their fraternity friend, Dave Yates. Austin's bizarre behavior continued. He was hyper, manic. When handed a beer, he didn't drink it. Instead, he poured it on his hand, believing somehow he could absorb alcohol through his skin. After about an hour and a half, Haley insisted on driving. Austin was way too unstable. Earlier that day, he had made an illegal U-turn at a red light while she was in the car. Now he insisted on riding in the hatchback like a dog. Back at his father's house, Austin changed clothes, a blue polo, white shorts, and a red MAGA cap, which he wore backward, thinking it would propel him forward somehow. Wade noticed something was seriously off. Concerned, he offered Austin a Xanax to calm down. Austin refused. Wade then took away his car keys, but Austin responded by leaping onto the hood and roof of Wade's car like a wild animal. Eventually, Wade gave the keys back, maybe hoping to de-escalate the situation. Later that evening, the family met up for dinner at Duffy's Sports Grill. Austin refused alcohol again, drinking only water, a lot of it, because he believed the water would literally make him younger, rejuvenating him. Sitting at the table, Austin ordered chili, but grew increasingly agitated at the slow service. He began to see death all around him. He believed he was the angel of death, and that Carrie, his father's girlfriend, was the angel of life. He also thought he could feel the Grim Reaper lurking nearby. Unable to handle the pressure boiling inside him, Austin excused himself to use the restroom, but instead, he slipped out of the restaurant and disappeared. Somehow, he made it to his mother's house. What happened there is still hazy even to Austin himself. He had vague memories of mixing cooking oil and cheese into a bowl and eating it in front of her. Mina, his mother, eventually drove him back to Duffy's. When he returned, tensions exploded. Wade grabbed Austin by the shirt in anger. Austin reared back his fist, ready to hit, but stopped when Carrie begged him not to. Duff, feeling invincible, fueled by delusions, Austin stormed out once more, leaving behind whatever remained of his old self. On the way home, Austin ran into a man he recognized, Daniel, a friend of his cousin's. Austin became convinced that Daniel was a bad guy trying to kill him. Terrified, Austin sprinted into the night, and that's when he saw it. A bright light spilling out of an open garage. Inside were John Stevens III and Michelle Mishcon, two retirees enjoying a peaceful evening. John, a former Marine, and Michelle, a retired finance professional, lived just north of Jupiter, Florida. They loved to ride their golf cart around the neighborhood with their dog. Their garage, lovingly nicknamed the Garage Mahal, was a gathering spot for friends and neighbors, outfitted with a couch, TV, and a small bar. John had a 3-month-old granddaughter he was about to meet for the first time. Tragically, that meeting would never happen. Austin approached the garage intending to ask for help, but when he got closer, the voices in his head twisted everything. He thought Michelle was screaming at him. In a flash, he decided she was a witch. Acting on his hallucinations, Austin grabbed what he later described as a machete from inside the garage and attacked. He stabbed Michelle. He bit her, believing he was a dog protecting himself. In the chaos, he drank a chemical, maybe antifreeze, thinking it was alcohol. When John tried to intervene, Austin turned on him, stabbing him repeatedly. A neighbor, Jeffrey Michael Fisher, heard the screams and ran to help. He saw Austin slamming Michelle's car door, grabbing her and throwing her to the ground. When Jeffrey tried to intervene, Austin turned on him too, slicing Jeffrey's face and body with a blade. Bleeding badly, Jeffrey managed to stumble back to his house and called 911. "I need an EMT. Quick, please," he gasped to the dispatcher, his wife in the background frantically describing his wounds, deep stabs to his neck and back, one dangerously close to his jugular. When deputies arrived at the Garage Mahal, they witnessed a nightmare. Austin was straddling John Stevens' body, chewing chunks out of his face. Deputy Gracie Zoff screamed at Austin to stop. He didn't even flinch. They tasered him. No effect. They unleashed a police dog. Austin fought through it like it was nothing. Deputies described Austin as having superhuman strength. Even brutal kicks to the head barely fazed him. Finally, it took multiple officers wrestling him down, cuffing his wrists and ankles to stop the carnage. On the ground, handcuffed, Austin continued thrashing and screaming. "Help me! Help me! I ate bad things," he cried. When asked what he meant, he said, "I ate humans." EMTs treated Austin for his injuries, taser marks, dog bites, bruises. But for John Stevens and Michelle Mishcon, it was too late. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. Austin didn't know either of them. He said the light from their garage had simply called to him, like a beacon in the night. Martin County Sheriff Will Snyder, a 43-year veteran of law enforcement, said he had never seen anything so gruesome. "I've seen a lot of crime scenes," he said, "but I don't know that I've ever seen anything with this much violence." Investigators initially suspected Austin had taken Flocka, a synthetic drug known to cause extreme psychosis and violent behavior. Flocka, often called bath salts, is a crystal-like substance, usually pink or white, that can push users into terrifying hallucinations and uncontrollable rage. And as you'll soon see, the toxicology results would add yet another chilling twist to an already unthinkable tragedy. Once Austin Harrouff was finally in custody, authorities wasted no time ordering a drug screening. They checked for the usual suspects: marijuana, cocaine, heroin. Surprisingly, all they found were faint traces of THC, the active chemical in weed. Detectives weren't shocked by this. Trace amounts can linger in the body for 3 to 4 weeks after use. But everyone was holding their breath for the full toxicology report. When it finally came back, 3 agonizing weeks later, it only deepened the mystery. No cocaine, no meth, no bath salts, not even flakka, the synthetic drug many first thought could explain such brutal, unhinged violence. There was simply nothing. Meanwhile, Austin's condition behind the scenes was spiraling fast. After being sedated at St. Mary's Medical Center in West Palm Beach, his body started to shut down. On August 16, 2016, just 2 days after the attack, his situation turned critical. Doctors suspected the collapse was triggered by chemicals he may have ingested while thrashing inside John and Michelle's garage. Austin's father, Wade Harrouff, later told People magazine that his son's liver was failing. His lungs were drowning in fluid. He was bleeding from the esophagus. His body was breaking down as violently as his mind had that terrible night. And yet, law enforcement made it clear, if Austin lived, he would answer for what he did. On August 19, 2016, Detective Eugene Marquardt officially signed an arrest warrant. It charged Austin with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted first-degree murder, 1 count of resisting an officer without violence, and 1 count of burglary with battery while armed. The medical examiner's autopsy left no room for doubt. John Stevens' cause of death, multiple devastating injuries. Michelle Mishkon's blunt force trauma, and Jeff Fisher, the neighbor who had tried so desperately to save them, suffered severe stab wounds, a head injury, a punctured back, internal bleeding, and even a broken thumb. But through all the blood and horror, one massive question remained. Why? Austin Harrouff had no criminal record, no history of violence. By most accounts, he was a normal kid, a college student, a son, a friend. What could make him turn so vicious so suddenly? His defense attorney, Nellie King, said there was an explanation, but it wasn't one people would easily accept. She entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. It's a defense that's almost impossible to win. In these cases, the burden shifts to the defense. They have to prove the defendant couldn't tell right from wrong when the crime was committed. The court allowed the plea to proceed, but under strict scrutiny. 2 renowned experts were brought in to evaluate Austin, one for the prosecution, one for the defense. Dr. Philip Resnick, a forensic psychiatrist, and Dr. Gregory Landrum, a forensic psychologist, both interviewed Austin extensively. They spoke to his family, his friends. They dug deep into his mind, and disturbingly, they agreed. Dr. Landrum, the prosecution's hand-picked expert, noted that Austin had responded positively to antidepressants and trazodone for sleep after the attack. In fact, he'd gained 90 pounds since starting the treatment. Dr. Landrum ran Austin through a grueling series of psychological tests and concluded that Austin had suffered a full-blown psychotic episode. His mind had disintegrated, a collapse driven by what looked like an emerging mood or thought disorder. In Landrum's opinion, when Austin attacked John and Michelle, he truly couldn't understand that what he was doing was wrong. Dr. Resnick, the defense expert, came to a chillingly similar conclusion. He diagnosed Austin with bipolar disorder, currently in a manic episode with psychotic features. Resnick pointed to signs of delusions of grandeur and even clinical lycanthropy, a rare and disturbing condition where a person believes they are part animal. Austin, he said, genuinely thought he was a dog. There were also persecutory delusions, paranoia so deep it made him feel constantly threatened. Dr. Resnick underlined one brutal fact. Even as Austin was being beaten, tased, and threatened with death by police officers, he kept attacking. He didn't stop biting John's face. He didn't acknowledge the pain. That level of detachment from reality, Resnick said, was not something you could fake. Investigators dug even deeper into Austin's life, and what they found on his computer was like a window into a mind falling apart. In the months before the attack, Austin had Googled, "Beat the anxiety trick," how to overcome chronic anxiety, how to sell your soul to the devil, how to know if you're going crazy, tree of the knowledge of good and evil, 10 ways to develop incredible charisma, yet still be yourself. I'm going crazy. Depression, generalized anxiety, panic and bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. auditory hallucinations when falling asleep, difference between mania and peacefulness. It was obvious. Austin knew something was wrong, but he didn't know how to stop it. Still, justice moved slowly. Years passed, delayed by the pandemic, legal battles, and Austin's own fragile health. It wasn't until late November 2022, more than 6 years after that blood-soaked night, that his trial was finally scheduled to begin. Austin spent all that time in the Martin County Jail. But just before opening statements, Circuit Court Judge Sherwood Bauer accepted a plea deal. Austin would not face a jury. Instead, he was committed to a secure mental health facility under the care of the Florida Department of Children and Families. He wouldn't be able to leave unless a court ordered it. Realistically, Austin Harrouff would likely die in state custody. For the families of John and Michelle, though, there was no closure, only heartbreak. Michelle's sister, Cindy Mishkon, stood up in court and told the world how she once believed there would be justice for her sister. She realized now how naive that hope had been. John Stevens' daughter, Ivy Stevens, faced Austin directly. Her voice shook as she said, "You are the reason I check all my doors at night, the reason I think someone is going to murder my children." Prosecutor Brandon White sympathized deeply with the family's anger. His team had fought hard, but in the end, the evidence simply led them to this outcome. "We don't create the facts and we don't create the law," he said somberly. "If the families needed someone to blame," he added, "we'll be the punching bag." On the other side, Austin's attorney, Nellie King, argued that what happened wasn't a choice, wasn't an act of evil born from hate, but the catastrophic result of untreated mental illness. Through it all, Jeff Fisher, the brave neighbor who survived multiple stab wounds and a brutal beating, somehow made a full recovery. After weeks at St. Mary's Medical Center, he walked out alive. John Stevens III and Michelle Mishkon weren't so lucky. They were cremated, and a massive Christian burial was held for them on September 3rd, 2016, at St. Peter's Catholic Church in Jupiter, Florida. Their loss devastated their community. Friends, neighbors, loved ones. They would always remember John and Michelle smiling in their garage mahal, the spot that had once been a safe haven for so many. When we talk about cases like this, here on True Crimes by Dominic, there's always a wave of strong emotions, comments, questions, anger. Many people feel that an insanity plea is a miscarriage of justice, and I get it, I truly do. When innocent people are taken in such a brutal, senseless way, it's only human to demand accountability, to crave it. Some even wonder if Austin was faking, if he was malingering. But I spoke with a clinical psychologist, someone who has worked with patients just like Austin. She asked me not to share her name, but her insights were eye-opening. She explained that psychosis often doesn't emerge until a person's late teens or early 20s. And while faking mental illness does happen, there are clinical tools, like the MFAS test, that screen for deception. Austin was evaluated using this tool. He was found to be an authentic case. And when you look at the nature of his delusions, it's chilling. Some delusions are non-bizarre, like thinking you're being watched or poisoned. Others are bizarre, like believing you're half animal, or that spirits live inside you. Austin's belief that he was half dog, that he could gain power over the devil by eating a snake, that wearing a Fitbit made him a Terminator, those are classic bizarre delusions. Even the day of the murders, the signs were there. He wore a Michael Vick jersey because dog spirits told him it would make him invincible. He had no weapon. He didn't know where he was. He acted without any strategic planning, no thought of escape. And when police arrived, he showed no fear, no understanding. This wasn't calculated evil. It was the catastrophic storm of a mind completely lost to madness. And that, tragically, is the true horror of the case of Austin Harrouff. At the end of the day, after walking through every heartbreaking detail, I truly believe that Austin Harrouff was in the grip of a full-blown psychotic break when he committed these horrific acts. His mind wasn't connected to reality anymore. And while that may explain what happened, it doesn't make it any easier to accept. John Stevens and Michelle Mishkon didn't deserve what happened to them. Their families didn't deserve the nightmare they're still living through. And I understand truly that for many, Hearing not guilty by reason of insanity feels like a punch to the gut. We want to believe there's always a clear villain, a clear choice between good and evil. But sometimes, the truth lives in a far more complicated, darker place. Cases like this force us to confront an unsettling reality. Not every monster looks like a monster. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't the evil we recognize. It's the madness we don't. What do you think? Was true justice served here? Or was it forever out of reach the moment Austin's mind slipped away from him? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. Let's talk about it. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps more people find True Crimes by Dominic. New stories drop every 2 days, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe, tap that notification bell so you're the first to know when we dive into another real-life nightmare. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the truth is far more terrifying than fiction.